everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Feature Flashback. This is the show where we, every week, take a look 10 years back at the films that came out this week. It's a sad day in the studio here. We're recording in a brand new studio,
Yes,
aka my bedroom. So
very fancy new digs that we have here. I will say, I wish you could be here. I wish you could see Jacob's room because it's magnificent. We have our laptop sitting on two folding tables in the middle of his room, and Jacob had to pull a pair of nunchucks off of his chair. He's like, "Oh, these were just making some noise. Let me move these off."
A little too much jingling and jangling from the chucks. But yeah, now we're ready to rock. This battle station is fully operational. We're beating the quarters and we're manning the guns because this week we're talking about Battleship, baby.
We are talking about Battleship. Oh boy. I guess first let's look at the weekend. This is the weekend of May 18th, 2012.
Goodness gracious.
Can you guess what number one was?
Oh, I think it was a hot little picture called The Avengers.
It still was its third weekend. Still number one. Still doing 55 million. Can you guess what number two was?
Battleship.
Guess how much?
20 million opening.
Oh, pretty close. 25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 25 million. You know, this is 2 weeks after the Avengers had 200 million.
Yeah, that's sad.
And then number three, Dictator.
Oh, okay.
With 17 million.
Not bad. That probably is its whole budget.
Well, we can get into that. Also, it had a budget of 65 million.
The Dictator?
The Dictator did. Hey, I mean, filming in New York ain't cheap.
Oh, yeah.
And then, do you want to guess what number four is?
I'm going to guess
Is Dark Shadows. Second weekend, it's already fallen to 12 million.
Wow. And as we know, it's trying to make up $150 million.
Oh my god. It's fallen to 12 million. And that number five is a movie that also came out this weekend, but that we are not talking about. It's the wonderful film What to Expect When You're Expecting. I kind of did want to talk about because it is kind of similar to Think Like a Man, and that it's a very stacked ensemble cast based on a self-help book.
Yeah.
That one about like women going through pregnancy.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of. So when you said movie, I was like,
yeah, it's a movie.
Me?
But you know, we got some guy movies to talk about this week.
This episode's for the fellas.
Yeah, you bet it is.
What's your history with Battleship?
Okay, so
hop in the machine.
I hop in the Wayback Machine, hop in my DeLorean. Let's go back 10 years. Let's flash on back. Battleship. I remember when it came out. I remember it was a big joke of everyone that it was based on a board game.
Yeah.
And I remember everyone being like, "Oh, what's next? Monopoly." Which I guess this is a tangent, but me and some friends, they had just listened to the Think Like a Man episode, and they were looking at Tim Story's career, as you call the American Takashi Miike. And he, at least on Letterboxd, he's currently listed as doing a Monopoly movie starring Kevin Hart.
His muse.
But I do remember there was that kind of fear of like, oh, that's gonna be Hollywood's next big thing. It's like, you know, they're re-releasing movies in 3D, and they're gonna make movies out of board games.
Yeah, I remember all that.
So I remember that, and so it was kind of a joke with that. But I remember being kind of excited, kind of curious about it. I didn't see it in theaters, and also it was kind of a joke that Rihanna was in it because it's like she's never acted before.
Yeah.
So that I remember I think I randomly bought the movie when it on DVD and watching it, and I remember liking it because a dumb 12-year-old Transformer brain. Transformers 3 was still the best movie ever, probably. And so rewatching it now, it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of stuck in my mind all these years as just such a fascinating failure on the part of Hollywood.
And our boy Taylor.
Oh yeah, and Taylor Kitsch. What a horrible year he had.
I know.
This is only like 2 months after John Carter came out.
And John Carter's great. I maintain.
Well,
I haven't seen it in a long time. But I really like John Carter, and I'll say I liked him in this movie.
he's not the problem with this movie.
Yeah, definitely not. Although in my mind, I feel like because he was robbed of his career, in my mind, both John Carter and this movie have Channing Tatum in them.
Oh yeah.
When I look back, it's just Channing Tatum. I kind of forgot Taylor Kitsch existed.
But yeah, so Jacob, what's your history with this movie?
This is another one that I just watched on TV with my dad one afternoon, and I think I felt pretty much the same way I feel now. I don't know how long after it came out I watched it. Not that long, I don't think. But I felt the same way I feel now, which was that it has some good moments, but mainly he's not so good. My biggest problem, my big takeaway from watching it this time, I watched it last night, was that actually for the first 30 minutes, I was like, is this kind of good? I was like, this is kind of kicking ass right now. And then the weird thing was, when the aliens show up, the moment you think should be kicking the movie into high gear was instead I am bored, I do not care. Because I think they kind of just fight them for an hour, and it's not really learning anything new, doing anything new. And then I was ready to be well, bummer, good first act, that's it. But then Act 3,
I knew you'd be digging the third act.
Is not to jump ahead for all of you Battleship heads in the audience, but there's a part where their ship is destroyed, their destroyer is destroyed. And by the aliens. Oh, there's aliens in this movie.
Oh yeah, it's a Battleship movie based on the board game, and they're fighting aliens.
Yeah, and
who for some reason have ships.
Yeah, I know that was
boats.
interesting. I liked that they didn't just have UFOs. I feel like every alien movie just has flying spaceships. But I liked that they had these weird kind of skipper things. They would jump.
Like whales.
Yeah. I was thinking those little bugs that run around on top of ponds.
Yeah. They kind of resemble fly fish.
Oh yeah. And their missiles.
Oh my god, did you notice? Did you notice what you saw?
Someone told me back in 2012. I remember my English teacher, I think, watched it and was like, I was like, what did you think? And he said, he mentioned the thing about the missiles, the torpedoes.
I have seen this movie, because I said that I remember having it on DVD, and I remember watching it a fair amount, or at least just skipping to the action scenes, but I never picked up on that.
Yeah.
I do remember watching it originally, and when at a point in the movie when they're like, how are we going to beat these aliens? And then they pull up the grid from the game, lost my mind.
Yeah. That on this watch through, I was watching with my roommate Blake, and he kept saying he's like, when is it gonna become Battleship? And I was thinking I don't think it does. And then the whole thing with the buoys happened. Yeah. I was like, oh, here we go, there we go, we've got Battleship.
So Jacob, what's your history with the Battleship the board game?
Not super exciting. I would play it on occasion with my brother. Maybe against my cousins if they were in town. I think we had a really raggedy copy.
Mine was too. I always remember that the box on ours, one of the kind of flaps on the top was kind of complete. It was mostly broken off, but still just kind of hanging there.
Yeah.
It was 90% off, but just I think it's still a little hung on.
Everyone's got that one board game that the box is just a mangled ruin. And I don't know. It was never one of my favorite games. I honestly probably enjoy the iPhone one you can play in text. Whatever that's called.
The Game Pigeon one.
Yeah, but I like that one more than the real thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't feel very strongly about it when I heard it was becoming a movie. I think the introduction of aliens is probably a good call, because otherwise, I guess
then they would have to make it my thought is they'd probably have to make it a World War II movie or some sort of
Cold War or
something like that. Because I guess that's the one weird thing about Top Gun is that it's you have to have them fight somebody. And so it's okay, I guess at the end of that movie we we go to war. We go to war with Russia.
Yeah, I actually just watched Top Gun the other day. It was kind of just on while I was doing other stuff. But that still dawned on me where I was like, wait, what the hell's happening?
Yeah.
Why are there Russians now?
Yeah, I'm really excited for Top Gun Maverick because I really hope they address. Part of me when I realized that would this take place in a post World War III world because since the first one ends with that, or are they gonna be like, are they not gonna address that?
Yeah. Or they could be like it caused a, international nightmare. Maybe that's why Tom Cruise his career never quite took off. He was such scandalous.
We'll have to see. I think they do mention in the trailer that it doesn't matter. This is not a Top Gun episode. I am excited for the second one though.
Yeah.
Excited. But yeah, I like the game. Played it same, with my family. It's very easy to cheat in that game. I did have that idea. I was looking at online at Target and seeing if I could hurry out and buy a copy of the board game and have a bit of us playing Battleship during this episode.
Oh, that would have been fun.
That would have been just for us. That would not have been for any listener. But yeah, that was my thing thinking about it this time of like, okay, you're a company, you decide we want to make Battleship. Okay, who are we fighting? Okay, we want this to sell internationally.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And it's from Hasbro, who makes the game, and they had done Transformers, which they just wrapped the third. Yeah, Transformers 3 had come out the year earlier, and so that was I think it was kind of up in the air on whether or not they were gonna do another. And so it makes sense. Like, we need a new big giant alien robot.
Yeah.
Fighting thing that's super pro military.
Yeah, with all the veterans and everything.
Oh my god, this one. Respect to all the military out there, but this one is so pro military. So many sweeping shots of American flags and kind of fetishistically looking at military equipment.
I wonder if I feel like all the veterans are like actually veterans.
I think I looked it up and at least some of them were.
Yeah, because I feel like they're not very good actors.
Yeah, they're not like, they feel like real people in the movie.
So I was like, they probably just were like, hey, are you a veteran of Vietnam and want to be in a movie?
Be in this Battleship movie?
Yeah.
You'll be fighting aliens.
The character who has the double amputee.
Oh, yeah.
Felt like he was probably an actual soldier.
He is.
Yeah.
I looked up.
Yeah.
And honestly, he's not that bad in the movie.
Yeah, he's really not. Yeah.
His role is weird.
Yeah. That whole thing was, well, I mean, we'll get into the story of Battleship.
I feel like if you haven't seen this movie, you're like, what?
Yeah.
amputee? The veterans?
Aliens?
Yeah. So the movie starts.
Yeah.
A logo comes up. It says Universal 100th anniversary.
Yeah.
That's on this movie forever. We come in on some news about, it's not NASA. Is it? It's not NASA. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's not, because later they talk to NASA.
Yeah, because like, what do you mean NASA's on the line?
Yeah.
What seems like NASA, but it's not NASA. And it's about astronomers. It's astronomers that have these satellites in Hawaii, which is a real thing. I did take astronomy in college, and there was a lot about there's a lot of observatories they try and build in Hawaii because it's like so remote from light pollution.
Got nice big peaks.
But they have these 3 satellites that they shoot they all shoot big lasers.
Yeah, I was like, that's definitely how transmissions work.
Yeah.
When you send something into space, it's a giant laser.
It's a giant laser that gets shot up to a satellite that is then going to beam out a signal in one big light shot on out to, what do they call it? Planet G. They say is, they've discovered it's like perfectly hospitable to life, similar to Earth,
a Goldilocks planet.
Yeah, and so they seem very chill about this, like, yeah, let's just do it, and didn't think anything else about it.
Well, there's one guy who says, we meet him later, Cal Zapata, I believe, who says, if aliens come here, it's gonna be like Columbus and the Indians. Only we're the Indians.
They're really proud of that line.
I thought it was interesting that he says Indians in the year 2012
Yeah.
and not Native American or American Indian. But I bet they were just like, it sounds better this way.
Mm-hmm. But so we see that, and the signal reaches the alien planet. Cut to our boy Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah.
It's his birthday. They live in Hawaii. He's at a bar with his brother, played by the Northman, Alexander Skarsgård. And they're at the bar. He's very drunk. Oh yeah, Taylor Kitsch is kind of a deadbeat. What's his name? Hopper? Oh no, that's his last name.
Yeah, they're both Hopper. Taylor Kitsch is Alex Hopper.
Okay. Dumb name. But he sees a smoking babe walks into the bar, and he says, "It's my birthday wish. I want to impress her." I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's a very convoluted thing to just like get us into the movie. You said you liked the first act of this movie.
Uh-huh.
I'm the exact opposite. I hated the first act of this movie.
I was like, I wish the whole movie was just about this like fuck up who has to go join the Navy to be better. Well, I mean it is.
Yeah.
But like, I was really compelled by this storyline of him being an asshole, and because I felt like you could tell he was an ass, but he was likable. He wasn't just an ass, and you know there's a whole thing where the girl Sam really wants a chicken burrito. They keep saying chicken burrito.
I just want a chicken burrito. Can you get me a chicken burrito?
And he's like, I got you, family. And he goes across the street or whatever to a gas station, and it's closing. So then he breaks in, and it's I thought that was a funny scene. It's like it's all done. Because that's another thing is I feel like the first act had a lot more like interesting stylistic stuff. Like for example, when he's breaking into the convenience store, it's all through CCTV.
And then they play the Pink Panther music.
Yeah. And so it's like him sneaking in, and then you cuts to a new CCTV angle, and then he just falls out of the ceiling and like breaks a whole bunch of shit, and then he also climbs back through the ceiling and then he on his way out he gets tasered twice trying to get her the burrito. So I was like, this is compelling to me. I like all these shenanigans. And then his brother is like, this looks bad on me because her dad is Liam Neeson, the admiral.
Is Admiral Shane.
Yeah. And he's my boss because Alexander Skarsgård is in the army or the Navy.
He's like, you're a fuck up. You're gonna get your life together. That's it. You're joining the Navy.
Yeah.
Cut to title Battleship.
Yeah. And then that was weird because I guess there's a time jump.
Yes.
But they don't say. I don't think they say like 2 years later.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be clear.
Yeah, because he's like high enough ranking that when the shit hits the fan, he becomes the commanding officer.
Yeah, he's like third in line on his ship.
Yeah. And he's been with Sam for a while, wants to marry her.
Let me get into Taylor Kitsch's character. I did not like his character. I like Taylor Kitsch. I think his character gets better as the movie goes because it stops focusing on some of these qualities. But I feel like everyone in this movie draws like, you have so much potential and you keep wasting it. Where is his potential coming from? He's just a guy who fucks up at every single turn.
That's true. I guess it's because like that he does some smart things, like what my favorite part.
Break into the convenience store drunk and fall.
My favorite part is when Liam Neeson is getting mad at him for something, I don't remember what, and he starts quoting Homer, and then Hopper finishes the quote and says, "Homer, sir," or something like that, and Liam Neeson's like, "It infuriates me that you know that," which I thought was funny. Like that he's like, he's obviously not the stupidest guy. He also cites The Art of War later, but he's just like, he's not applying himself at all.
I guess also just circling back to kind of the beginning, like, I don't know, the first scene with them just felt very attached to me, like the scene at the bar. Like there's a whole part where, and I was wondering if this is maybe Taylor Kitsch's fault. I won't blame him. But, cause like the line that she gives him, he says like, "Who are you?" And she says, "I'm hungry." He looks there and says, "That's not your name."
Yeah, that was stupid.
And I was like, maybe there's some actor somewhere that could deliver that line, but it just comes across so stale, and that's how a lot of the dialogue is.
Yeah, I feel like it was weird too, because Jesse Plemons was in this.
Yeah.
Who's like a good actor and now does mostly like more indie stuff, I would say.
And Game Night.
And Jungle Cruise.
Oh god, he was in Jungle Cruise.
But like I could like see like a lot of his delivery was still like pretty good. He was a highlight for me. But it was just weird that he was in this movie.
Yeah, this was I guess around the time that he was in Breaking Bad. Or, like, he showed up in Breaking Bad.
I didn't know he was in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, he's only in the last season. He's really good at it.
I think he's in Fargo too.
Yeah, he is.
Season 2.
Yeah,
the best season. Also with, I think, is that also Kirsten Dunst in that? Power of the Dog reunion.
Well, they're married, so.
Really?
You didn't know that they're married?
This is blowing my mind right now.
This was a big news story because they were husband and wife and they both got Oscar nominations.
Aww. Jesse Plemons for Peter Parker.
Current Jesse Plemons for Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Plemons would be a good supervillain.
I feel like he could really fill out a spider suit.
I'd like to see him play like if they do Doc Ock again.
Yeah, that could be cool.
I could see him as.
But yeah, I thought there was weirdly a lot of like recognizable faces in this, like Rihanna for some reason. I think this is a little bit before her stint in Home.
Oh, God. A little before. I was trying to think of what other movie she's been in since this. I remember this was a big deal.
She been in it? Well,
she was in Ocean's 8.
Oh yeah,
she was one of the ensemble. That
she played 8 Ball.
I remember her being not bad at that one. Like,
yeah, that movie's not bad actually. And she's in. It's not. I don't think it's a movie. I think it's like 45 minutes long. But she's in. I think that something with Childish Gambino.
Oh yeah, Guava Island.
Yeah,
she's good in that.
I was gonna call it Mango Beach.
Close. Oh yeah, I did have because Liam Neeson shows up in this. My theory is that he was on this movie for max a week and a half.
Oh yeah,
because his scenes are so simple. He could have shot this thing. They could have shot this thing out in like 4 days.
And he's all in like you could all the locations he shows up in. You could definitely do. They're like a 10-minute drive from each other. That.
And I was laughing though because this was obviously like this is post Taken. Like he's starting to be in like action movies and stuff, so it makes sense of like, okay, get your older, kind of cooler actor to be there for this part. I was laughing though because Liam Neeson's a United States admiral.
Yeah,
but he's Irish.
I know he still has a little bit of that accent.
Oh,
he's like I'll send another plane up when you get in the co-pilot seat. I'm from Kansas.
Maybe he joined the army for his citizenship.
Yeah.
An immigrant. His daughter though, no accent.
Yeah, no, she's fine.
Oh yeah, so then when we do the time jump, we're playing it's a kind of like an intramural game. It's some big like competition that I guess the Navy has with like the world's navies, and they're playing against Japan.
The Rim Pack Cup, they call it.
And there is a really weird part. I don't.
Well, I will say I liked that the Japanese showed up because the main Japanese guy, Nagata, was Tadanobu Asano.
What else is he in? He looked familiar.
He's in a lot of stuff actually. Like he's Thor's friend.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
Who because I think he has like a beard and like weird hair, and he dies in 2 seconds in Ragnarok.
Yeah, he is the only one who gets like slightly more of a fight scene.
Yeah.
To die in.
Which, even though I don't particularly care for the first 2 Thor movies, I do feel bad for his friends who are killed mercilessly in Ragnarok. But he also, I always find a way to circle back. He's a Takashi Miike alum because he was Ichi the Killer.
Oh, he was.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I liked him in this movie.
Yeah, I always think he's fun and stuff.
Yeah. I do remember because I remember him being in the movie and there being kind of a rivalry between him and Hopper. But I didn't realize that he was an actual like member of the Japanese Navy. So I was a little confused on like what exactly his ship is doing there.
Yeah.
Like why is his ship with them?
I think
when they're attacked.
Because they're doing, I don't know why it's America and Japan, but they're doing some kind of like thing where other countries come and do naval exercises with America. But it's like, it definitely feels like a thing just to sell in the movie to Japan.
Yeah.
Um, which but that was weird that it was happening at all. But he did come in clutch with his buoy technique.
Oh yes, he did, which brings up the grid. Although they do when he suggests bringing up the tsunami buoys, which gives us the wonderful battleship grid. They said like, oh, we've been doing it on America for years. Like, what?
Yeah.
What? They've been spying on us with that?
Yeah, I thought that would be a bigger deal. That seemed like a breach of security.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone does it.
Yeah. What do we know? We are lovely podcast hosts playing at naval warfare.
Oh yeah, and then we also get our introduction to Liam Neeson as Admiral Shane. It's a very funny name. But he's giving like a memorial, or not a memorial, giving like a commencement.
I don't know.
Giving a speech on the USS Missouri, and he makes some special note to the veterans that are joining them there today. Which, because I knew rewatching this about like how the veterans show back up at the end to man the battleship.
Yeah.
But I was laughing this time watching it because they're like two of the veterans. This time they have like oxygen tanks with them.
They're like really old. And that was weird too, because I guess this movie technically takes place in one day, except for like
pretty much
before the title.
Yeah.
Because like by the end the veterans are still just hanging out, and I was like, what? Like they're still here.
They all live on that ship.
Yeah. And they kind of just come out of the woodwork and are like, we're ready to man the ship.
Ready to do our duty, sir.
And this is after, or I guess maybe the soccer game was the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because pretty much with it, this all takes place within like 2 days. 3 days.
Because there's that scene where him and Sam kiss on the beach, which I guess is maybe the night of the soccer game. Or after the soccer game. I don't know. Who even cares?
We're spending a lot on this first half. The part that everyone cares about.
Well, we can get to the next part real quick. Aliens show up.
They
heard our transmission. There was they end up having to attack their own satellite dish to stop the aliens from using it. That guy goes, "Are we about to fire on Oahu?" And he goes, "Holy shit!" Or something like that.
That one guy, they you could tell he was just funny.
Yeah.
Funny old man that they got to do all the funny lines.
Just set him loose.
As they're getting ready to fire, he goes, somebody gonna kiss the donkey.
I was like, what is that? I wrote that down too because I was like, what does that possibly mean? Oh, brother, somebody gonna kiss the donkey.
Because while they're getting out to go this naval exercise, there's some tension because Hopper is wanting to propose to his girlfriend Sam, but wants to get the blessing of the admiral for their dad, and he's like, I hate you so much. I hate you so much, Hopper. You are a disgrace. You have so much potential that for some reason.
Yeah. And he says, I don't know what my daughter sees in you.
And so then we follow Sam, his girlfriend, who is a physical therapist.
Yeah.
And she goes working at a vet clinic.
Yeah.
Working with amputees.
Yeah. With like wounded warriors. And that's where we meet Mick. Yeah, this dude Mick, who is a army amputee with both legs missing and has given up. But Sam is gonna ungive up.
I guess so. That plot felt kind of half-assed.
Yeah, and they kind of forgot about it, I feel like.
Yeah. There were points I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I
guess we need something keeping us something else to do, not just at the sea fighting the aliens.
One of the few things I remembered about this movie going in was Mick fighting an alien one-on-one. And so I knew he was coming, but I was like, how did we get there? Why does that matter? And so then when Sam was like, I'm your new physical therapist, I was like, oh, okay, here we go. And I liked their little adventure. Basically, she takes him for a hike.
Yeah.
And while they're hiking, the attack happens. And so they get stranded on this big mountain because
aliens, because what are their communications ship crash landed into Hong Kong, and so they need a new way to send communications back.
Yeah.
back to basically be like, all right, send the rest of the invasion, I guess.
Yeah.
Which see, I don't know what their plan was there. I guess that was just like a scouting.
Yeah. I guess so, to make sure that their planet is habitable. Which I thought there was going to be a whole plot about, like, because this I feel like always happens in these movies.
Mhm.
They go, oh, the aliens destroyed their planet
Yeah.
and now they want to use ours.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Some sort of motivation. We don't get anything on what they want.
I know, it's just so weird.
There is that little moment, which is a cliche, of when they find an alien in the water and they have it, which I was so confused on where that alien came from.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, we found him. and they're looking at him, and then it wakes up and grabs Taylor Kitsch, and then he like sees its mind, and I guess he like sees a little bit of like, oh, they're gonna come and conquer the world.
Yeah.
Wow, what an insight.
Which also, like, I wasn't sure what was happening there, because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, it looks like aliens are attacking Earth, but because I thought it was going to be some tragic backstory with the aliens, I assumed it was like the alien world, and I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
It's like they were trying to do a Lord of the Rings thing where Galadriel shows Frodo what happens if he fails and the Shire burns, but they didn't give us any. Okay, listen, they built up that moment for like 2 hours. This movie didn't give us any of that. But
Wait, which did?
Huh?
Which did for 2 hours?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
Like we learn about all this stuff and then we see that. Instead, this movie's just like, hey, by the way, mind meld with an alien.
Yeah.
I felt like all the alien stuff was kind of half-assed. Like,
yeah.
Like, I didn't understand a lot of what they were doing. Like, it kept showing their like alien vision.
Yeah.
And it would be
the alien vision like has like little visors that determines if something is green good or red bad. Must destroy. I guess like red is a threat.
Yeah, that's what I was
it's
thinking.
so convoluted about like, because I think they just knew that these aliens would just wipe the floor with any ship that goes against them. So like, it's so inconsistent.
Yeah, it's like, because you'll see them, they'll scan like the ship, and the cannons on the ship will be red, and it's like, okay, so they recognize that that's a weapon. But then sometimes the weird thing is that then sometimes they would look at something and then decide not to blow it up, and I feel like it was a moment like we're supposed to know what that means, and instead I would just be like, but why? Like, there was a part where like they send out these big rolling machines.
Oh, the giant like termite thing.
Yeah. And those would like just roll through everything. They destroyed all the helicopters at Pearl Harbor. Yeah. So I was like, okay, they're destroying weapons. Then
the one goes and destroys a highway.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, so they're cutting off transportation. That kind of makes sense. And then like they make a point of showing it stop at a little league game and not kill a kid with a baseball bat. So you're like, okay, so
but it really thinks about it.
Yeah,
it really thinks about killing that kid.
So it's like they're not killing non-combatants, I guess.
But that's a really weird scene because that comes directly after they have their kind of first encounter with the aliens. And there's 3 ships. 2 of there's the one that Taylor Kitsch is on, the one that his brother is on, and the Japanese one that Nagata's on. And the brother ship fires on them and then gets completely destroyed. They die. The Japanese one also gets destroyed, and then Taylor Kitsch's one, they're getting ready to fire, but they can't yet. So, and then they decide to save the survivors of the other ships instead of attacking. And so then the aliens just go like, nope, not a threat. They haven't fired on us. But then immediately go and destroy all the weapons at the military bases.
Yeah.
But those weren't being used to fire on.
Yeah. And the other weird thing was like that it would also seem like they wouldn't attack you unless you attacked them. Like there's a part where Beast, one of the soldiers on the ship, sees one of the aliens inside the ship, starts like scanning a torpedo or something.
Yeah.
And then it just walks right past him. Like he tells everyone like leave, like basically like I'll hold him off. But then the alien just walks right past him and he watches it, and then he hits it with like a hammer or an axe or something, and then it hits him. And then Taylor Kitsch comes in and starts shooting it, and it like flips out. So I was like, if anything, you're just painting the aliens as kind of like merciful.
Dumb. Yeah,
like,
I guess so.
They're like, that they look at him and go, I don't need to kill you.
Yeah, it's so inconsistent. It's so just because like these aliens would just kill all the characters instantly.
Yeah. And they're also like, I mean, this is neither here nor there, I suppose, but I always think a lot about like design when it comes to stuff like this, and I felt like they were kind of not lazy, because they definitely like someone designed these things, but they were just like a weird, not very iconic design.
Yeah, because they're humanoid. They have like kind of a weird like their foot arches are like super high, almost like a horse.
Yeah, almost a hoof. Yeah.
And then they like their hands are kind of like claws. They're like 4 big thumbs.
Yeah, I thought their hands were the coolest part.
Yeah, but then like they're kind of lizard people ish, but then they have these weird like spiky goatees.
Yeah, that was
the weirdest part.
Yeah, I was like, why did they do that? And then they had like human teeth. And so I was thinking they were like trying to be like, oh, they're not so different from us, but then that didn't come into play at all.
No, then we just blow them up.
Yeah. Because I thought it was going to come back to the whole Goldilocks planet thing, which, by the way, they talk about how it's a perfect planet for life, and like you think, oh, they're coming to take over our planet. At least that's what I inferred. But then they also have this whole subplot about how they have to wear these helmets that are basically sunglasses because they can't take the sun. So I'm like, how are you going to live here? You're just going to wear helmets all the time?
They'll build very nice condos to stay indoors.
They'll all move to like Siberia where there's no sun.
Well, my idea was that maybe, because I feel like they should have been more like them being like amphibians or something, which would make sense about like why their ships are so like water based.
Yeah. The only problem I see with that is then that it could be like, okay, well, why can't they just live in the ocean and we'll live on the land and we'll be happy?
Well, because they're not going to come peacefully.
Yeah. They're going to kill all of our fish. And we were going to do that. With plastic.
Oh, and did you notice Rami Malek is in this movie?
Yes! What the hell? I was wondering if that was him.
That is him. I looked him up.
He's in like a nothing role.
Yeah, he's the guy who talks to Liam Neeson in like 2 scenes. He's like, sir, we lost communications.
Yeah. Then he would go on to win Best Actor for
within
Freddie
a
Mercury.
decade,
Yeah. That was so weird because I was like, he's already been in the museum at this point. He's recognizable enough to not be some glorified like featured extra.
Yeah. He very much is like an extra.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It makes me wonder if they like cut his role down or something.
I doubt it. I doubt they had like this is as much Liam Neeson as they had. Any Liam Neeson they had, they put in this movie.
Oh yeah, they got their full bang for their buck.
They did. He probably made bank off of this.
Oh yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. Oh, Liam Neeson. From Darkman to this. Rob Roy to Battleship.
Oh, this did have... I was thinking at some points, I was like, was this script written by an AI? Were we at that point yet? Especially with a lot of the lines during the battle. Like, you have the one guy like, I didn't sign up for this. It's like, it's a battle.
Yeah.
You're in the Navy.
Yeah.
That's before they even know they're aliens. He's like, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, I know. There was a lot of... like, just all the stuff that when the fighting actually started, where it should have been the most exciting, I was just like, I don't care.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, the little Star Wars line. There were a couple of interesting moments. Like, I liked that, like, when they realize how outclassed they are by because, like, I did like how there were, like, 2 different kinds of aliens. It seemed like there were, like, pilots and, like, warriors. Because there was, like, the skinny aliens that were wearing orange armor, and then there were these huge, like, almost, like, cyborg aliens that had, like... I
didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah. And they were, like... that was interesting to me that they were kind of cyborgs, because that seems like something they should have talked about, but they didn't, was that, like, they had these,
their hands, like...
They would, like, morph.
Yeah. Which I think is kind of a cool visual, but I couldn't tell what was happening with it because it was just kind of changing into nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it was just kind of like one big hook.
Yeah, that would be... Yeah, it was kind of... Its go-to was like claw. And then it would be like 3 knives that would turn into 1 knife.
Like, change into more things. Like, maybe it pops in, then like a flamethrower comes out or something.
Or like a big laser gun.
Yeah. It
turns into a scanner at one point, but we still don't know why he's scanning that.
Yeah, the aliens are so just like... It's the most like, all right, quote unquote aliens show up next. Like, they did not like, this is, they just needed something to fight.
There were a couple cool things where it showed like how tough they were. Like, they could just like throw someone across a room, or like when one of them comes down the stairs, they're like these steel stairs they have in the ship, and it was bending them because it was like so heavy. And then, but I liked where they had to fight one, and like their guns weren't doing anything to it, so they shoot it point blank with a battleship cannon,
Yeah.
which I thought that was really cool. But
that's when Rihanna delivers the iconic line of "Mahalo, motherfucker."
Yeah, there were two separate times where someone's about to say MFer, and then it cuts right before the F word because it's right. PG-13. Most of the action in the middle was very forgettable to me. Mm-hmm. Like, it was kind of cool when they were like using the grid to shoot the ships, but I was like, whatever. I was like, okay, because then I remember my roommate was like, what's gonna happen here? Because he's like, because comes a point where they're kind of like, they take out like 3 of the alien ships, so it's like they're kind of doing a good job. My roommate's like, what's the point? What's gonna happen? And I was like, well, I know that at some point we have to get to the old ship. I've seen this before.
It's so hard talking about this movie because as soon as we get into the middle, it's just battle after battle with
and then they cut back to the scientists and stuff who are making some real leaps, I think. Yeah. Like they go from not knowing anything like this, this is literally from another world. It doesn't match anything on our periodic table. And then he goes, it has panels on it. It must be communication shit. Yeah. And I was like, how do you know that those
y'all have looked at this thing for like 4 hours.
Yeah, and not even in person, just from what you've heard from people in China. And I'm like, for all you know, those could be, they're paddles for when they go in the water. they're like, oh, those are communication panels. Yeah. And then they're like, I bet they're trying to talk to their
home base.
Yeah, and then
home planet.
Which then someone, I can't remember who has the epic line of, you telling me E.T.'s trying to phone home?
Oh my god. That's what this feels like. It feels like it's trying to be Independence Day.
Yeah, big time.
Stuff like that.
Independence Day on the ocean.
Very much is. Or I saw the tagline for this. What do you think the tagline is?
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Oh, that would be a good one, but no, it's the battle for Earth begins at sea. I know how pumped that makes you.
Yeah, that sounds epic. That's awesome. One
ticket, please.
The Universal boardroom. Yeah, cool. Put it on the poster. I love it.
But yeah, so their ship gets destroyed by the big termite things, and then they're like, "What are we gonna do? We need a boat. Pull up to the USS Missouri."
Yeah, full circle.
Yeah, and then they're like, "So outdated. We don't even know how to run it." And then out walks all the veterans that have worked on this boat, all still conveniently here. I guess they work there, maybe.
It was kind of like, have you seen Wayne's World?
Yeah.
There's a part where Wayne and Garth are like, they detail this whole detailed plan about how to save the day, and then they go, if only there was someone who'd help us. And everyone in the restaurant who's been listening to them stands up and goes, we'll help. It's like, that's what happens.
That's so funny. Well, because it's so funny when they start, because as they're saying that, like, Taylor Kitsch is looking around the ship, and there's just, like, veterans standing in really funny parts of the ship. Yeah. Like, there's 2 that are standing, like, basically at the top of it. Like, a nice gust of wind comes by, and they're gone.
Oh, yeah. Those guys weigh 70 pounds soaking wet.
They fly away like a kite.
Yeah.
But the veterans come out. They feel like they're real veterans because their acting is not great.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What do you need, son?"
Yeah. He's like, I no one has the right to ask any more of you, but I'm asking. That's pretty good. I like that. That's a pretty good line.
I like that point because it gets like cheesy enough of like, all right, our veterans are gonna kick these aliens' asses.
And I like that they have and they set it up in the beginning because there's a part where some kid is taking a tour of the Missouri, and he's like, "What's the difference between a battleship and a destroyer?" And then Taylor Kitsch is late.
Carl Weezer was not taking a tour.
And Taylor Kitsch is late to the group meeting of the Missouri, and so he's like, "Oh, a battleship's like a punching bag. These things really can take hits."
Destroyers destroyers, though. They're awesome.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, full circle. Okay, we're gonna be in the punching bag,
Mm-hmm.
because we've seen that these things make mincemeat of our destroyers. Um,
But so yeah, I did like because as when they start like they're kind of getting the ship ready montage is set to Thunderstrike.
yeah, that was sweet.
um, so they get the ship ready. There's funny. I like it's kind of funny of like you seeing like the crew. You see Rihanna go into like the gunner station, but it's like old fashioned.
And the old guy's like, "You ready to play with the big boys?"
So that part I like. It gets cheesy enough. Everything else in the movie is so serious.
Yeah, I really liked the ending. Like, I thought that was sweet that they got the old timey ship. I did have some logistical problems because I'm pretty sure when they turn a ship into a museum like that, someone literally goes, "It's that ship. It's a museum," and they mean literally. Like, there's like vending machines on it and like plaques. But like, cause I'm sure visited the USS Lexington.
I have visited the USS Lexington.
Yeah, a lovely little trip down to the coast of Texas.
Aircraft carrier.
Yeah, and it was reminding me of that where it's like very much decommissioned, like you can go on and off of it.
But no, this baby's ready to fire.
I know. I was like, they've got gas, they've got shells. I was
they
like,
have active munitions on this museum.
I was like, I'm pretty sure when they decommission a ship like that, they fill its cannons with like cement.
I think, yeah. That'd be hilarious if they go to fire and then it just like hits the cement and explodes.
Like when Bugs Bunny puts a carrot in the end of Elmer Fudd's gun. And then also the thing is like chained to the dock with these massive chains. So I was like, I want Mythbusters to see how fast you could actually cut through that with a blowtorch.
Oh yeah, they cut through and they all fall at the same time.
Yeah, they do it pretty easily. But anyway, if we ignore all that,
pretty cool climax.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
Decently cool climax. That's the thing about this movie is that the action and like stuff isn't that bad. Like I found myself like even during the scene where I guess they're playing Battleship, I found myself decently riveted during.
Yeah,
but
same.
Like everything around, like the characters, I did not care for at all.
Yeah,
I think that's the major problem.
Same. And going back to design, I thought that the alien ships were a little uninspired. I thought the idea was cool. The missiles were cool. The idea of having like a big boat ship is cool.
I think we alluded to, but I don't know if we said, but the alien missiles are done in the same design as the pieces on the battleship board.
Yeah.
Like they're done with like the little pegs, and when they fire, they land and then strike in, which I did not notice until this watch, and I could not stop crying laughing.
Yeah, which I genuinely like that, and I like that they like riddle the ships in a straight line. Like if when you're playing the game, if you find where someone's ship is, you can just run down the line. So I like that, but I felt like their overall design was very like, I don't know, just very generic. And then like you said, the characters. I did like Taylor Kitsch, and I liked Alexander Skarsgård, who died very quickly. Yeah. But that was about it. I liked Mick, the amputee. And I liked when he punched an alien in the face.
It is funny when he goes one-on-one with an alien.
Yeah. Which I liked that he was able to like kind of level the field by taking its helmet off, because then it was blinded. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that was pretty cool. But yeah, it's just overall like I didn't really care about what was happening, and then like they saved the day, and I'm like, cool. And then when it does that thing of like they try to make it feel it's a pretty small conflict, you know.
Yeah.
They hit Hong Kong, and that is a huge deal, but mostly the conflict is 4 ships, including the Missouri, and aliens, but they keep
like
alluding
4 alien ships.
Yeah, but they keep mentioning, this is the end of the world, and then like at some point I think Taylor Kitsch says this is like we're gonna need a new planet situation. Yeah. So I feel like that was kind of just them trying to cheaply make it like bigger stakes.
Yeah. I did wonder because we do see like the aliens kind of wreck Hawaii. We get some of that kind of horny destruction of infrastructure. As we see the highway get wrecked. Yeah. And so I did kind of like that it wasn't like, I don't don't know. Maybe it would have been better if it was like a globe-trotting like battle with these aliens or something. But yeah, because the conflict it's just kind of right in Hawaii. Oh yeah, because we didn't even mention that the reason that it's only these ships is because they shoot a giant force field, a giant shield that just encapsulates Hawaii, and because the military is conveniently doing their exercise just outside of the ship, outside of the shield. They're left isolated.
That was another thing that I thought was funny, was that they're isolated out there, and then the alien stuff starts happening, and there's like the requisite scenes where they're confused and they're like, is this part of the exercise? And they obviously their first thought isn't aliens, because who would think that? But then talk about, this was one of my most like WTF scenes was when Mick and Sam are up on the mountain and these three like rangers show up.
That same scene, yeah.
And they're like, I need you off this mountain now. And they're like, what's going on? And he's like, someone's attacking the island. The word alien is being used. And I was like, okay.
What aliens being used? I don't even know what's happening.
And then they go, but then the best part is they go, I need you off my island. And then they drive away. And I was like, so they're like, yeah, you need to get the hell out of here. And then they just let them hike.
Yeah, it's like
put them in your car.
Drive them to safety. What are you doing?
And then I guess it's like good they didn't get in the car, because those guys are immediately killed by aliens. But it's like, that's a screenwriting problem. You can just put them in the car and then have them survive the alien attack. You know, I was like, it's just weird that they just leave them there. Like, y'all are not good rangers / cops.
They're the worst rangers / cops I've ever seen.
And then, but I do like when Mick goes into trouble, and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I've never seen an alien.
I did write that line down.
And they're like, yeah,
I've
perfect.
never seen an alien.
And I think after they save the day, it just hard cuts to them at like the award ceremony.
The award ceremony at the Oscars.
Yeah, at
the end of Tropic Thunder.
Or like at the end of A New Hope, where they just get their medals.
It's very much that. And then he talks to Liam Neeson about proposing to his daughter, and he says no.
Yeah.
He makes a joke out of it.
I think his daughter should have been taken by aliens.
Oh, you wanted to be a damsel?
No, I just wanted it to be a Taken movie.
You think you're an alien? Taking my daughter. I will find you.
But or it could have been like nonstop, but on a boat.
That's your Battleship movie. It's like an Among Us. One of you is an alien.
What do we have as an Among Us?
I would love to see an Among Us movie starring Liam Neeson.
It's like the Expendables, but it's for all just like old action here. Well, that is the Expendables, I guess.
That's just the Expendables. It is funny that Liam Neeson, like, because he's so fucking old, and so fucking tall. But he's not in that same like range of like old action stars of like Schwarzenegger and Stallone, because like he became an action star in kind of his old age.
Yeah.
Getting back to the film, there was one line, because Mick and Sam, when they're on their journey, they're joined by one of the scientist guys.
Yeah.
Him, I didn't need at all. They just need him to explain science stuff.
Yeah, true.
And but he does have a line of when he comes across them, and then he sees Mick's titanium legs. And he goes, oh my god, is he a cyborg?
Yeah.
Are you guys with him? Like, that was such a tasteless joke.
Yeah, and
that
it's so stupid weird. Because he's a scientist. He definitely should understand a guy with prosthetic legs.
Yeah, has he never seen an amputee before?
Yeah, you're also in Hawaii, which I think has one of the highest concentration of retired veterans.
So bizarre.
Yeah.
And kind of, and then also in connection, both of these movies feature clips of Barack Obama.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Forrest Gump.
Oh, yeah.
They don't, though.
They do. I was like, where in Battleship is Forrest Gump?
You don't remember when he goes to check on Mick, and he's watching the scene where Lieutenant Dan is New Year's Day, and he's just sitting there depressed.
But yeah, I do find it funny that they repurpose like footage of an Obama speech in this movie of like him talking about us triumphing over aliens.
Yeah. I wonder if you like track down what Obama was actually talking about, if like it was if it would be tasteless, you know.
Oh,
like
yeah.
if he's talking about like our involvement in Afghanistan. Use it in their alien movie.
Yeah. I feel like that was a thing a lot in
For
like,
sure.
time period because like just using it's like, oh yeah, we'll just use footage of Obama in.
Yeah. I feel like there was a big rise in footage of Obama or implying that it was Obama in the White House.
Yeah.
And whereas I feel like in movies in the 90s and early 2000s, they would just make up a president.
Yeah, it would be someone else playing president. Or you'd hear, why isn't Obama at that ceremony at the end? Like, why isn't the president there congratulating and shaking the hands of the people, the men in arms who have fought and repelled an alien invasion?
Yeah. And
What's he busy with?
He's from Hawaii.
He is, yeah. Where
he
the hell
been like,
is he?
You defended my homeland, and I am forever in your debt. So is America. Michelle. And this movie, could you imagine if this movie came out in 2016?
An Obama cameo?
Oh no, I was gonna say if Trump was the president.
Oh my god!
Like aliens.
Well, they have a Donald Trump mention in the movie.
They do,
Yeah,
which I was
on.
like, that was so weird because it's before the Trump we know.
Yeah, so I guess they're just because they say like because Taylor Kitsch comes on board and is like shouting commands, and so Rihanna is like, oh, he's thinking he's Donald Trump and Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I guess just arrogant.
I guess so. Mike Tyson seems so nice. He seems like a big teddy bear. But I guess maybe that's based more on like Donald Trump on the Apprentice.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Don't talk about me in Battleship.
You're doing an impression of every black man alive on this show.
That's not racial. That's just how Mike Tyson sounds.
Those are ableist now. I'll cut this out. Oh yeah, how the hell do they not have some point in this movie when they say you sank my battleship?
I thought about
the one thing they needed.
Yeah, I was waiting for it and it never came.
Even just like I was thinking like a line of like these aliens killed my brother, they sunk my battleship.
Yeah. Which I guess wouldn't work because they don't sink the battleship.
Yeah.
Maybe you sunk my destroyer.
They're not gonna sink this battleship.
Yeah,
there may be a line like that, but it's not. It doesn't hit the same.
Yeah, that'd be good if he said. Or Liam Neeson calls them and says, "Hopper,
did you sink my battleship?
Don't sink my battleship."
So the last thing I want to talk about this movie was: did you know there's an after credit scene?
I did not, and I definitely did not stick around.
Well, because having seen that, I mentioned this idea to you. I don't know if you remember it because I was drunk bringing it up. But I wonder if on the spot you can pitch a Battleship 2.
Right? Oh,
If you could, because I have an idea.
Battleship 2.
What would if you're a Hollywood executive and let's say this movie made $700 million
and it demands a sequel.
It demands a sequel. The studio's like, Jacob, we need a Battleship 2. The people are demanding it. Give us a pitch right this second.
Battleship 2.
And I'll tell you the end credits scene that I believe it's just like some people like looking in like because I think they say like when the ship that crashed to Hong Kong they're like, oh, pieces landed everywhere. And so I think it's just like some people somewhere like looking in like a hole and then you see like an alien's like hand come out.
Yeah. I was going to say something similar in that it would be like they had something programmed into their ship that like if they didn't hear back in a certain amount of time, it would send a distress beacon and they go, we got to go to get our boys. But then, what if this, just because that's boring, what if then we figure out that they're coming and we
send battleships to space?
Yes! To fight them on their own land.
Isn't there a like Japanese thing about like space battleship or
Yeah.
something where it's like, oh, the only thing we have to turn into a spaceship is this battleship?
Yeah, it's like a World War II era.
They should do that.
Yeah.
I had a much dumber idea. Here's my horrible pitch for Battleship 2. So, one alien survived, and it landed in, let's say, Mongolia. It gets acquired secretly by Kim Jong-un because he's in the zeitgeist. People are afraid of him, and this is only a few years before the interview. And so the alien gets captured by the North Koreans, and he becomes best friends with Kim Jong-un. And the alien teaches Kim Jong-un how to make these ships, how to make it. And so then North Korea begins their invasion of Japan and Hawaii, and begins expanding all over the Pacific Rim. So then Taylor Kitsch, it's up to him. He is now a 6-star general and is now leading the battleships, which now they still can only use the USS Missouri.
Yeah.
Armed only with veterans.
Wait.
He has to lead it to battle.
The
alien North Korean army.
I just came up with an idea. I actually thought of this during the movie,
Okay.
But now it's my sequel pitch. So Taylor Kitsch is on vacation in Massachusetts, and the aliens attack again. He's on his honeymoon.
Okay, good.
And luckily, there's other veterans there, / other. He's able to commandeer some sailors, and the only ship they have at their hands is old Ironsides. the Civil War era ship. And to fight the aliens. And he's like, beat to quarters, Mr. Pullings.
Wait, so the veterans are from the Civil War?
No, actually, it's not even veterans. It's just reenactors who know how to work a sailboat.
Well, Hollywood, there you have it. Give us a call for Battleship 2.
Ironsides.
It's only been 10 years. People are nostalgic now for Battleship.
Yeah, and Taylor Kitsch needs to come back.
He does. And one last thing I want to mention about this movie is the director, Peter Berg. Do you know this man? I know you've seen one movie he's done more recently, but because I think he had done the movie with The Rock, The Rundown, and like this. So this was kind of him getting like his first big budget movie. And he did this, didn't do well, and then he did kind of do a comeback with Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
And so then him and Mark Wahlberg become absolute besties. So
Mile 22?
Well, they do Lone Survivor, then do Deepwater Horizon, then Patriots Day. And so that's kind of a trilogy
I don't even remember
of
what Patriots Day is.
That's the one about the Boston bombing, where Mark Wahlberg solves it.
Okay, cool.
Great movie, made me cry, but also kind of weird. Mark Wahlberg saves the day, saves the Boston bombing. But they do that, and then they did Mile 22. Horrible movie that misused a beloved friend of the show, Iko Uwais. And then he did Spencer Confidential for Netflix.
I kind of like Spencer Confidential.
Yeah.
It was the first thing I watched when the plague hit in quarantine, and I liked it. I liked that the Winston Duke was in it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I remember I have a semi-positive view of Peter Berg just because I remember really liking like Lone Survivor, that kind of trilogy of movies. But then I did see a clip of him recently, and I guess he is kind of a super bro military dude.
Oh yeah.
And there was some like, I guess an interviewer was asking him about that when promoting Battleship, and Peter Berg is like, "You're an able-bodied man. Why aren't you serving your country?"
Okay, Peter Berg.
It's just like, what? Which I can see him getting along with Mark Wahlberg. I feel like Mark Wahlberg could, same way he could, 9/11 would have gone differently if he was there.
Oh my god. Oh boy.
Alright, we've talked about this movie for so long.
Yeah. Would you recommend it?
No. Watch something else. It's not horrible. It's a really funny oddity as like, yes, a movie that's based on a freaking board game. Yeah, it's not horrible. Taylor Kitsch is okay. Unfortunately it sank his career.
Hey.
But yeah, don't watch it. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Jacob, or how did this match your expectations?
I honestly, I think it was less than my expectations because I at least I expected to have some more dumb fun with it than I did. I was kind of just bored for the whole middle hour.
Yeah.
I like the beginning and I like the end, and I like some of the shenanigans of Mick and Carl or Cal. Um, I liked that there was a guy named Negrady who looked like a monkey. um, and that's about it. I liked Obama. I would say if you want to watch a movie about naval warfare
Against
directed
aliens.
by a guy named Peter, you should check out Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World. I have watched it twice since our last recording. I love Master and Commander.
I've been telling you about this movie for a while.
I finally watched it. It was awesome.
It's so up your alley.
Yeah, and then I showed my roommate. That's the way I watched it twice. I showed Blake because I was like, this is the perfect Blake movie because it's half about being in Her Majesty's Royal Navy and the other half is just about looking at cool lizards with your friends in the Galapagos.
Yeah. Oh, one thing that did feel very similar to is Battle Los Angeles.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, because one thing I saw a video by I saw a video on YouTube that made the comparison of like Battle Los Angeles, like the aliens don't really make a lot of sense, but they make sense for what the movie's trying to do. Because like the aliens, like they were able to transport to our world and attack, but of course they use infantry and ground forces and are humanoid enough so that way the humans have a fighting chance. Because we just need someone to stand in for like, we need an alien to engage in war with us the way that we know and can comprehend. And the way that we could shoot at them with a gun.
Yeah.
So it's the same way here of like, all right, we need aliens that can, travel across space, but, can still have ships that we can, blow up with a battleship.
Yeah. That's a really good point because they definitely could probably just vaporize us with some kind of intergalactic ballistic missile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. On to movie 2.
The Dictator.
The Dictator. Jacob, what's your history with The Dictator?
This one I actually didn't see when it came out. I'm not a big, obviously I love comedies and I love funny stuff, but I feel like I generally don't see the more mainstream big Hollywood comedies. I only saw Grown Ups last year for the first time.
Hey, that's a great movie.
Yeah, stuff like that. And so I didn't see this one came out. And I also wasn't a big Sacha Baron Cohen guy. I didn't see Borat till last year.
Oh yeah, we were 12. This movie is a hard R.
That's true. And I guess I say that because I had friends growing up who were like, "Oh, Borat," and I was like, "What?
What friends did you?" I guess it's not absurd.
Talking about you, David. I think it was David. I would watch. I was no stranger to an R-rated film, but it was Terminator, or Gladiator, which still has hardcore stuff in it, but it's not. I don't know. It's different when it didn't have Sacha Baron Cohen milking a prostitute.
Oh my gosh!
Wait, excuse me, a soldier. She wasn't a prostitute.
A soldier that they had sex with him.
Yeah. But yeah, I saw this movie for the first time last year, 2021. And I think it's fine. And my opinion has not changed.
Yeah, this was my first time seeing this movie all the way through.
Uh-huh.
I remember seeing the trailer and being excited for it. I remember it was they showed a lot of the Olympics scene from the beginning.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, here's a history of the country, and oh, he hosted his own Olympics, and you see him he fires his own starting gun.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, at his Olympics he won 14 gold medals, and then he starts using the gun and shooting.
Yeah.
A bunch of people around him.
They had a couple good visual gags like that, not to be the guy who's doing anatomy of a joke here. But I was like, oh, it's funny because he's corrupt. He does his own starting pistol. But then the kicker, and he uses it to start shooting them, cherry on top. And then there's the same kind of thing later where he needs to poop and he's hanging over the street. And right below him, a woman has her purse stolen. And she's like, somebody stop that man. And you think, his giant poop is gonna hit the robber, and instead it just hits the woman.
No, he's not pooping. Wait, were you watching the unrated cut?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, no, I didn't either.
Oh.
No, but because that's the part when he's hanging from the zip line and then he's dropping his bricks out.
Oh, I thought he said he had to make boom boom. He had to make a big poo poo.
No, because it's like, oh, do you have any weight? And it's like, oh, I have my supplements. And it's worth, one of them is worth 3 bananas. And then he pulls out 3 bananas. Like, why do you have that? It's like that I don't trust the pills. And it's like, oh, I also have this brick. And it's like, why do you have a brick? And it's like, well, to even out the other one.
I did like that. That's how I wrote down like that. I mean, I guess we can get into like beat by beat stuff, but I did write that I tend to like this movie more when it was being like absurd, like the bricks, and then when it was more like edgy, like a political, not really political, but more like edgy, like oh I'm a dictator comedy was not my favorite.
So the premise. Oh, I guess I did.
Oh, did you say your history?
I saw the trailer. It had the Olympics scene that me and my friends laughed a lot. I remember the movie coming out and hearing it wasn't very good. And I think I remember renting it. I watched some of it at some point. And I watched the beginning and I was like, oh, this is bad. I think as a kid, I was still like, I don't know, my parents did a good job of like, don't watch bad things. Yeah. Even though I would sneak around their backs to like watch Family Guy around this age or maybe a little older. But I feel like I remember seeing it and just being like, when it's all this stuff, like, oh, you have herpes now, and like, there was some stuff. I feel like I only watched the first like 20 minutes maybe, and then was like, I don't want to watch the rest of this. Yeah,
it's just like kind of dumb.
Yeah,
which I love dumb stuff. Like, if you look at like, I mean, we were going through my Blu-ray shelf here earlier, but Nacho Libre is a very dumb comedy, but it's like I
feel like it commits a little more.
And it's fun. It's like it's not poking, it's not hurting anybody. Yeah. Which this isn't either most of the time, but there are a few jokes I would say are in bad taste. And maybe that's just 2012 for you.
Yeah.
But
as we've discovered.
Yeah. Oh my God. Except I will say this again, we find another film with a American Asian actor doing a very stereotypical Asian performance, but it's comedian Bobby Lee, and just having seen his other stuff, I feel like he wanted to do this, and I thought he was really funny when he.
Is he on The Daily Show?
I don't know. I've seen him. He was a guest on Norm Macdonald Live, and he's really funny on that. And I've seen some of his stand up on like This Is Not Happening. But yeah, so I just like having seen his type of comedy, I feel like he volunteered for this.
He fought for it.
Yeah, and I actually thought he was really funny as Mr. Lau, the oil baron,
the Chinese oil baron.
Yeah.
I guess I did say what I thought of it this time, but I'm similar. I'm kind of split on this movie. I feel like something that was stuck in my head this entire time watching was like, why wasn't this done in like a Borat style way?
Yeah.
Of like Borat of like, live reactions, like hidden camera type stuff with a story stringing it through. It felt like it was like teetering on being that, and it's the same director as Borat.
Oh wow.
And so it felt weird to me that it wasn't. Like some of it felt a lot more like it felt like in this weird middle ground. I loved John C. Reilly when he shows up.
Yeah, he was really funny.
He was really funny, and that it reminded me of like, oh yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen was in Talladega Nights. I'd completely forgotten about that. He's French and gay.
Yeah, he really disappears into his roles. I have to say,
it's the disguises.
Yeah. I also, this might be a weird thing to say, I thought he was a very handsome man in this movie with no beard and curly hair.
He's always so handsome. No wonder he won Isla Fisher over.
Yeah, we were like, wow, what a handsome Sacha Baron Cohen. Even though he's playing war criminal.
Yeah, that is another thing about the movie, is that the movie is like, it seems very much on his side. I don't know. It seems like we're supposed to sympathize with him, or is the joke that he's the hero of the movie? Even though he's like a vicious war criminal who thinks he's executing all these people.
Yeah, that was what's confusing, because I thought like, okay, he's gonna have this redemption arc. So there's a part of the movie where we find out that everyone he's been executing, in hand quotes.
Yeah, because he executes everyone. It's like, oh, you bump into him in the hallway, he'll have some soldiers drag you off.
So we find out that they're actually just being shipped off to Little Wadia. He's from a country called Wadia. And they're being shipped off to Little Wadia in New York City. And so I was like, oh, they're doing that so that when he has his redemption, we go, he didn't really kill anyone, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not actually a criminal. But then we find out later that he has lots of experience torturing people.
Yeah.
Because he has that's actually a pretty funny scene with John C. Reilly where they talk about their favorite torture devices.
Yeah.
But then the worst part is we find out that he's like a pedophile.
Oh yeah. He's a rapist.
Yeah. And then he's still in the end. It's like kind of supposed to be a happy ending, and I'm like, he's like not a good person at all.
I know, that's a weird kind of like gray area of this movie. Is like, I guess that's the joke.
Yeah, that the joke that he's a pedophile?
But so it's in a weird place with that. But I guess let's say what the plot is of this movie.
Yeah. I will say before we get into that, for my money, it's a pretty like funny setup. It's a pretty good premise, even though the jokes themselves I didn't.
And I feel like this was a time when like people were, Saddam Hussein was still on the mind.
Yeah,
like
we had just got Osama.
Yeah, well, he wasn't a dictator, but
true.
Which I guess there's a lot of Osama bin Laden jokes in this one. I did think those were funny about like, oh yeah, he's been living in my guest house ever since they got his double.
Yeah. Oh, but this is right after Gaddafi too, I think, in Libya.
Yeah, Gaddafi and like Kim Jong is still like a big news story in North Korea. So I feel like it was a good time for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is in this weird spot I thought of like, I guess we'll get into more of that. But the story is Sacha Baron Cohen is the dictator of a North African country called Wadia. Sits where the country of Eritrea is on the Red Sea.
Oh, I didn't know.
I know where I know maps.
Yeah, so. Colin is very geographically minded.
I guess so. But what does geographically minded
I don't
mean?
know.
But
all I'm saying is this guy knows how to pull up the buoy maps to take down some alien tangos.
Every Saturday. But so he's a ruthless dictator. He changes words in the dictionary to his name.
Aladdin.
Aladdin. He changes the words positive and negative to his name. And then,
that's a pretty good joke. I like that.
That's a funny joke. I like that it keeps coming back to that. Or there's a really funny joke. I don't know if you missed it, but when there's the restaurant in Little Wadia in New York.
Oh yeah.
But they have so they're like, close the store, and then they change it, and the one side of the sign says, "Sorry, we are Aladdin." And they turn over, and it says the exact same thing.
Yeah, or it says, "Come in, we're Aladdin."
But so he's a ruthless dictator. He wants nuclear weapons, but the UN is putting pressure on him. So he has to go to the UN General Assembly in New York and give a speech, or else they'll like authorize airstrikes again.
Yeah,
which they probably should. But also,
but that just goes to show the goddamn bureaucracy jungle we're in. We can't even destroy a dictator like we used to.
But then also Ben Kingsley is in this movie and plays Sacha Baron Cohen's uncle, who they mentioned that Sacha Baron Cohen's father, like, even though Ben Kingsley was the rightful heir, passes on to his 7-year-old son when he died. And so then Ben Kingsley's leading I guess not really a coup. He's leading more of a he has an operation to kill Sacha Baron Cohen and have an idiot duplicate in, and then sign a new constitution that will end the dictatorship and give Ben Kingsley a bunch of money because he'll sell off all the oil.
Yeah, instate like a puppet democracy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Bobby Lee comes in. And they do make a BP joke.
Oh yeah, BP, you will have the offshore drilling rights as long as you do not use a BP drilling rig.
Yeah. So then we get into everything's going honky dory, but then
John C. Reilly makes a wonderfully small role.
Yeah. His name's Clayton or something.
And he's like, "Hello, just to let you know, I'm here to protect your lives, but also I hate Arabs."
Yeah, And he says everyone that's not from the U.S. is technically an Arab, which we only say that because that's what he said in the movie.
Yes, man, there's so many things that are gonna be said that could be taken out of context on us. Please, it's all blame Sasha. Send your letters to Sasha Baron Cohen.
These are not the opinions of Feature Flashback or either of the
we
hosts.
are legally distinct. Our lawyers told us to say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so John C. Reilly gets hired by Ben Kingsley to torture and kill him. Or he gets hired to kill him, but John C. Reilly says, I'll throw in the torture for free.
Yeah.
But he escapes after his beard is shaved off, though. His famous beard. And so then he is left wandering the streets of New York, but meets Anna Faris, who I did not know was in this movie. And she plays like a super woke. She feels like what the joke is of like, SJW.
Yeah, like granola liberal.
Mm-hmm.
Like lives in a co-op.
I own a food collective that only employs political refugees.
Yeah.
Or she mentions like, oh yeah, I took Sacha Baron Cohen says something bad. He's like, oh yeah, I know comedy. I took a feminist clown class in college. She's like, oh, I'm stuck under the glass ceiling.
Which like, it feels in some ways almost ahead of its time, which is weird because I feel like some of the stuff is stuff that people still joke about now with like political debates that are going on, like where she's like, we have a all or no gender restroom or something like that. And I was like, that's like a joke that. Or no,
she makes a joke that they have a lesbian restroom.
Yeah, I like that because it's like, why would lesbians need their own restroom? But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that it's like. Sometimes there's like some stuff that's like clever, but it's just like, do we need to make these jokes? Like what? I don't know.
Yeah, it's in that weird area of like trying to be transgressive.
Yeah.
Which kind of puts at a weird. This is an interesting one to look back on because comedy changes so much, especially when it's trying to be kind of politically relevant. That's why Borat, I think, kind of a testament to how good Borat is, because that one is such a good like encapsulation of the time. That's such a good encapsulation of like Bush era America. Yeah, like the scene at the rodeo when he says like, "Let's hear it for our boys in Iraq." May George W. Bush like personally kill every man, woman, and child, or drink the blood of every.
Yeah, and they're all like, "Woo!"
Yeah.
Yeah, like that, and that was a good part in this too. There's a moment where, he let's see, what's the setup? It's towards the end when he, he's like, dictatorships are amazing. He's like, if America was a dictatorship, it could do this and this and this. But all the things he's listing are things that America actually does.
Like, if you had a dictatorship, you could take all of the wealth and give it to just 1% of the country.
He's like, you could have, you could use the media to scare people into voting for things that work against them.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that was a good part that it's like.
I did like that part because that felt it felt still relevant and like an actually interesting kind of point to make.
Yeah. But then it comes right before his like redemption, which is like, are we actually trying to have a sweet ending or not? I don't know. It was really weird.
But so it felt like something like that. And because I think my favorite scene in the movie is, so for most of it, he finds one of his old scientists who he thought he had executed, who he executed because he was building a nuclear bomb for him, and he made it round instead of pointy.
Yeah.
It was played by Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, I really liked him.
Podcast alum of How Did This Get Made?
Yeah.
Which I always knew he was in this movie because he was on the podcast. He like in some older episodes, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, watch The Dictator. I'm still not cut out of it." Like he had a running joke about like, "Oh, still haven't been cut out of it."
Yeah.
But then, because I knew there was the scene of like him getting taken to be executed, I did not realize what level that running joke was on How Did This Get Made? Because he is in so much of this movie.
Yeah, you can't cut him out. He's like his sidekick.
Yeah, he's like third lead in the movie.
Yeah. I always liked Jason Mantzoukas, but I thought he was a good part of this movie. I also thought like part of it was interesting because I was like, Sacha Baron Cohen is Jewish.
Yes.
And so that he gets the pass of a lot of Jewish jokes that he puts in a lot of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
Then Ben Kingsley, I believe, is a white Englishman.
Is he? What? Ben Kingsley's so ethnically ambiguous.
Yeah, because he played Gandhi.
He played Gandhi, and then a year before this, he was also the villain in Prince of Persia.
Yeah, and then like he plays the Mandarin, who's like, I guess supposed to be maybe. I don't know.
Canonically, he's supposed to be white.
Yeah.
In that, he's supposed to be Middle Eastern, or at least his face is supposed to be like.
Yeah, so it's very strange. And then Jason Mantzoukas is Greek. he's playing
North African.
Yeah, and then they also have, I always forget her name, but she's an SNL alum at the end playing like a newscaster, and I think she's Indian. So it's like they're just like
oh my god.
They're just whatever is okay. And then Fred Armisen is playing Wadian at one point.
He is.
But yeah, it's just like one of those things where I was like, are any of you supposed to be playing North African? I mean, I guess maybe it's different because it's comedy and not like a drama, but
yeah, it is.
I don't know.
I feel like that works better in a Borat style movie where it is more of like, you know, wearing disguises, like him, real people reacting to him. Like a scene that I thought would have been like hysterical if it was that kind of format was the helicopter scene.
Yeah.
Where him and Jason Mantzoukas are going on and they're talking in their language. And they're saying stuff about like, oh, I'd love to see the fireworks by the Statue of Liberty, but all the people, this old white couple in the helicopter here is just like Statue of Liberty, boom boom.
Yeah, and they at one point he's talking about his new car, and he goes, I have a Porsche, and that's all in Wadian, and then he goes 9/11 2012, and they go, ooh.
And then he pulls out, like, oh, I have this vest for my back, and he pulls out, it looks like a suicide vest.
Yeah.
Like that feels like something out of like Jackass, or that would be like a Borat movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I did like that scene, but that's that weird middle ground of this movie that it feels like it should have been.
Yeah.
Like, because imagine real people reacting to someone saying they're a dictator or something.
Yeah. And there's some stuff too that feels improvised like that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I think some of because even there's like the blooper reel at the end where he does like 5 different takes of the same scene, 5 different jokes. But there's stuff especially between Mantzoukas and Sacha Baron Cohen that seems like they just were riffing. Yeah. Like the whole thing where he's in the America suit, which also feels very Borat.
Yeah.
He's wearing a tracksuit that's the American flag, and is saying like he's gonna be just an American guy. Or at one point he's saying he's gonna be a Chinese guy, and the doll Jason Mantzoukas is trying to explain why he can't go undercover as a Chinese guy. And so they're just back and forth. Seems very like improvised, which also is very off the cuff Borat. There were some moments that felt like they were real like that, like when he's just wandering around the streets of New York, but there's not really jokes there. He's just like he kind of mentions to people. He kind of says, like, he says to a cop, like, can I hire you for an assassination? But you don't get the cop's reaction or anything.
Yeah, because it's just this weird place that the movie's in. I don't know. It is interesting to also think about this because it feels like, I mean, Borat's kind of made a resurgence now since the second one came out, especially. But
I'd be the first to say, my wife.
My wife. Oh, I cannot hear my wife now without doing that. And I remember when the second movie came out, they're like, oh no, another generation of men that just say, my wife. But I feel like at this time, because this is like 5 years after Borat comes out, that was like 2006, 2007. And so I think people were getting a little sick of Sacha Baron Cohen's shtick. Because he had Bruno come out 3 years after. Do you know Bruno?
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I know Bruno.
Yeah, which is the same format as Borat, and I don't think that connected a lot. So this was kind of an attempt to make it into more of a narrative. But I think it is still stuck in that point. Because I feel like Sacha Baron Cohen really, since, hasn't really found his groove. I remember he did that movie with Mark Strong.
Yeah.
Like Grimsby or something. I remember that bombed horribly.
Yeah, that looked really bad. That was his Mordecai.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm glad he's kind of rebounded since with like Borat 2. And he had that show, This Is America, that I heard was good.
Oh, I forgot about that. He also did a serious show where he was a spy.
Oh?
Yeah, I think it might have been a British show where he plays a spy, maybe on Netflix. And he was it was like just full drama. And he also did like his own fight scenes and stuff.
But yeah, and so this is kind of at a weird point in time because it's kind of a point that Sacha Baron Cohen is kind of, I don't know, he's kind of becoming not as beloved, not as like an icon. And it's also at a weird point because this is the Obama era, so a lot of the kind of critiques like they feel more like Bush era type stuff. So it feels like kind of out of time, but I guess some of it is supposed to be timeless, I guess.
Yeah, well, like we said, some of it still is hits close to home.
I don't know. I was just thinking, like, would this have connected a lot more if this was, like, at a point early on in Bush's administration?
Or if it came later and it was
Maybe.
could do Trump jokes.
Well, because that's basically, it is funny to think about now because Borat 1 came out, during the Bush era, and Borat 2 came out in the Trump era.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, it's just a strange film, and I don't dislike Sacha Baron Cohen. I just think like, little too edgy at times.
Yeah, it feels like it's trying to be edgy.
Yeah, and I think part of that is him, and part of that's just 2012. Like, it's just that the time we lived in.
Oh, did you like the joke at the beginning with Megan Fox showing up?
Where
he has sex with Megan Fox.
Yeah,
that's the joke.
I was surprised that it was really her at first. I was like, oh wow. But yeah, that was fine.
Oh, I did feel like the movie called you out at one point though.
Yes, I wrote it down
with the Crocs scene. Yeah.
I thought that was really funny.
Y'all can't see it, but my man be wearing Crocs all the time.
Now since we're in my room, I'm just wearing socks, but I normally am wearing Crocs during our recordings. And I laughed out loud when he says, Crocs are the symbol of a man who has given up on life.
Yeah, and Jacob would just sit there wearing Crocs and nothing else.
Yeah.
Oh, I did so when he starts working at Anna Faris's like progressive food co-op. I did think it was funny when he starts kind of running.
Yeah,
he starts running the co-op like a dictatorship. I thought that was a good bit of just like, I guess that is kind of funny of like how businesses are run. Because it's like, no, we got to be very authoritative. Like if you steal money, because there's one guy who keeps like slipping money from the cash register, and so he takes him and like tortures him in the back.
Yeah, with that old Romanian man.
Yeah. And then like it's just like, he gets everything ship shape. He starts like torturing people. I like it. He puts a giant painted mural of Anna Faris done in the same fashion that his murals are done.
Yeah, that was another weird moment because I liked the joke, but it's like, is this being painted as a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was just weird. Because it's like a satisfying montage of like, okay, we're getting the crew together, but then like, it's like he's still doing bad stuff. Like he at one point a cameo by Gary Shandling.
Oh yeah, I was like, that's such a weird cameo
with not even a word of dialogue.
Yeah. Because the whole reason he's working for her is because she's gonna be serving food at the event that the imposter is gonna be at, so he'll be able to break in. But then there's a whole thing with then another company gets like the contract to cater it, and so then I guess Gary Shandling's in charge of that, and he kidnaps his family, and he signs over the documents, and then as soon as he does, they look through the window, and he opens a van and let his wife and kids out.
Which I just saw a clip of on Twitter of Gary Shandling talking to Ricky Gervais, and I think Gary Shandling is like clowning on him for doing like edgy, like just shock humor. Yeah. But then he's in this movie. But I could see him just being friends with Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, friends with all these people.
Yeah. The wrench in the works is that he's falling for her, for Anna Faris, while he's meant to be just using her as a means to an end. So of course we have our whole, when is the truth gonna come out scene.
He just kind of, he just kind of reveals it. It's like, he has to. That's what happens in a movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's because he's like, he wants to be honest with her. But that's a really weird moment because they're about to like have sex, and she says to him, I want. She's like, can I tell you something? And he's like, of course. And it seems like there's gonna be some kind of reveal, and then she just says, I want to be with you, and I was like, okay, like, uh, I guess as opposed to I want to hit it and quit it, Sacha Baron Cohen. But also, it's funny. There's another good running joke. This is unrelated. It's just because she says, I want to be with you, Allison Burgers.
Oh, yeah. His running joke of whenever people ask him his name, he just says whatever name on a sign.
Yeah. So I think he sees a sign that says Alice. Or no, he's gonna say Aladdin when she asks him his name. So he goes, Allah, and then he goes, son. And she goes, Allison? And he's like, yes. And then she goes, what's your last name? And he looks at a sign that says, like, Hashem's Burgers. And so you think he's going to say Hashem, and then he goes, Burgers. Which is, that's pretty good. And then it gets...
So what's your name? Max? Occupancy 100 people?
Yeah. And it gets progressively weirder. One of my favorites is when you hear someone on the news say, it was like, there was a...
It's after the helicopter incident.
Yeah, and it's like, that's what it is. It's like, and they apprehended a man named Emergency Exit.
So that running joke, as like sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Like the scene with Fred Armisen questioning him repeatedly, that one felt like they did that like 6 times.
Yeah,
and it felt very slow. But then when you get like just kind of the throwaway ones like that worked well.
The Fred Armisen one started to work for me more because they did it so many times that it like was funny, and then it wasn't funny, and then it was funny again. Just how ridiculous it got. Like when he says maximum occupancy 120 persons, and Fred Armisen goes, "There's a number in your name." I also really like that part. So he's in a restaurant called Death to Aladdin, and
just a little Wadia.
Yeah, and everyone's starting to recognize him as the person who sent them, who exiled them when he thought he was executing them. And so they're all looking at him like, why don't we know you? He's realizing he's in hot water, and then the doll Jason Mantzoukas comes in and saves him and goes, oh, it's my cousin, when they're all about to like cut his head off.
Which, do they say why Jason Mantzoukas like wants to help him?
Not at first.
I was a little confused.
That doesn't really make sense.
Because Jason Mantzoukas is also like sad at the end when he decides to when he declares that there's gonna be like no more dictatorship. Like I don't know what Jason Mantzoukas wanted out of that.
It's weird because he saves him and you think he has some reason to, and then Aladdin goes, okay, great, now you can help put me back in power. And he's like, why would I do that? I escaped, I have a great life here. And then he says,
because he's working at an Apple store.
Yeah, and then he comes out and says, if I help you, make me the chief nuclear scientist again. So it's like he legitimately wants to make missiles.
To make nuclear missiles.
Yeah. So then that's like he becomes the one who gets sad when Aladdin starts to become a better person because he wants to be in the dictatorship.
Yeah.
But he wants to be this high up scientist. But I really like that moment where I just think it's so funny when they're making the deal and they're like haggling over what the deal is going to be. He's like, okay, well, if I help you, you have to make me the nuclear scientist. And he's like, okay. And then he says like, but you have to make the missile pointy instead of round. And then to win him over, Nadal starts standing up and he's like, wait a minute, I think you're. And then he's like, shut up. Like, just the fact that he's like gonna reveal him right then and there is so funny to me.
It's like, I will die on this hill. The missile will be round.
Yeah. He might have been the highlight of the film for me.
It was for me. Did you ever see Dirty Grandpa? The one with Zac Efron and Robert De Niro? In which Robert De Niro is the dirty grandpa.
Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking of Bad Santa.
Now, that's a good movie. Dirty Grandpa is not a good movie. But Jason Mantzoukas is in it, and I remember seeing it before I think I was listening to How Did This Get Made, but I didn't, because it's a podcast, I didn't put the dots together. And he's hilarious in that movie. He's like a drug dealer. I think his running joke is that he like owns every business that they go to. So I remember him being in that and being the highlight. So Jason Mantzoukas needs to be in everything.
He's so good.
Oh, and he's in I forgot he's in John Wick.
Oh,
he's in John Wick 3.
Yeah, for like a second. Also,
he saves John Wick at the end of 3.
Yeah. Both of our movies today had Parks and Rec alums, because Jason Mantzoukas plays Dennis Feinstein in
Who's
Parks
in
and Rec.
Battleship?
Battleship had on the TV for a moment.
Perd Hapley. I didn't notice
Yeah.
that. That's so funny. There was, well, since we're talking about how did this get made, great podcast. We'd love to be on.
Yeah. Please.
We know you're listening.
Please.
But I do remember because when they have the running deal of having Adam Scott on the Fast and Furious episodes, and they talked the first one they did where they talked about Fast 5. They say like, oh yeah, the first seconds of this movie, Perd Hapley shows up.
And he always plays a news anchor.
I know, it's so funny. He's so good. You find your type.
Yeah. He found his niche and stuck with it.
Oh, and that we gotta talk about the masturbation scene.
That's a pretty good scene.
I don't know. That would have felt weird.
I mean, it's definitely weird.
Reasons.
But the like intercutting with like shots of nature, I thought was really funny.
And like people dunking in basketball. Yeah. So the setup is that like it's before Anna Faris is like into him. So he's like, thank you for helping me with this. Here's your reward, and is like saying like, oh, you can suck my dick.
Yeah.
For that. But then she's like, no, you need to learn to like touch it. You need to pleasure yourself.
Yeah. She's like, because a lot of times she like treats him like doesn't understand like the West or something.
She thinks that he's a political fugitive or something.
It's like, oh, he's like a kooky foreigner.
Like, oh, he's like a refugee. Yeah. He just doesn't get it. He doesn't know. But so she tells him how to masturbate, and then we see him start, and and we see like superimpose like an image of someone dunking. Yeah,
like dolphins jumping out of the water.
And my favorite one, you see the scene from, as we alluded to, you see the scene from Forrest Gump of the braces coming off his legs and start running.
That's so funny.
And then there's another scene in that store with Catherine Hahn.
Oh yeah.
When she starts giving birth in that scene. And then that one did feel like shock value, but I don't know, it kind of worked for me.
No, me too. That was one where I felt like it was so crazy, and it wasn't, it wasn't racial or like super edgy. I mean, it was edgy because basically the scene, for those who haven't been lucky enough to watch, which by the way, this is on Amazon Prime, included with Prime, and then Battleship is on Netflix. But your last day to watch is May 31st.
I know. Why do we keep this and the Lucky One? We keep watching movies on Netflix like right before they disappear. Yeah,
lucky for us. I don't want to rent any of these pieces of shit. Basically, he says this is a pretty good joke. He says that he was Wadia's chief surgeon for 22 years, and we obviously know that he gave himself that title and he's not qualified at all. But she's like, this woman needs you, Allison Burgers. And so he's like trying to help this woman give birth. And there's like a womb cam.
Oh my god. Because he's like trying to, because Jason Mantzoukas then calls him, and so he's trying to take the call while helping give birth. And so then he has it in his hand, and then he actually leaves the cell phone inside her.
And now I'm no scientist, but
because then you get the angle from POV inside vagina.
Yeah.
Inside vagina. And you see, again, my mother may be listening, but I've seen my fair share of pussy. But it's just like that baby like pops open like a sliding door in Star Wars.
Yeah.
When it pops open and you see Sacha Baron trying to talk to on the phone.
Yeah.
And then in there. But so that's a funny visual. It reminded me of, did you ever see the Tom Holland vehicle Cherry?
No.
It's a weird fucking movie.
Yeah. I saw The Devil All the Time.
I saw that one too. That
was pretty good, actually.
That was okay. But the Cherry is the one, that's the one that the Russo brothers did for Apple.
Oh, yeah.
And Tom Holland's like a veteran.
And then he becomes like a bank robber.
Yeah, he joins the military, becomes a bank robber. It's not very good.
But there's a scene where he talks into a vagina.
Well, there's a scene. Oh god. The only thing I knew about the movie going in was someone had mentioned that there's a montage, like when he joins the army. It's basically just like how ridiculous the army is. And there's a part where he has to get like his anal, like they have to check like his anus, and there's a POV inside Tom Holland's anus of the doctor with the flashlight.
All right.
And so it reminded me of that.
That's so strange. They're like, hey, you know that guy we had playing Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I think he's ready for the big leagues.
I think we're ready to see from his anus.
He's ready for butt cam.
Yeah, and I just love imagining whatever like prop person had designed Catherine Hahn's sliding door coochie.
And I should say that my mom is an OBGYN.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, so I've grown up hearing about all this, the science of birth, and I was watching the scene and I was like, this is. I mean, I think anyone watching this knows that this is not how it actually goes.
But that's the joke of it.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that
yeah.
scene does work.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. That's just because I'm saying there's like a, from the inside view, it's like a 1.5 feet deep.
I know.
And 7 inches wide.
Yeah, there's so much space in there, so much real estate.
Yeah, because they Anna Faris and Sacha Baron Cohen end up holding hands in there
inside
and waffling their fingers and then making out. Or I don't know if they kiss right there. I think they're about to.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's so ridiculous that it's funny. There was a name I saw in the credits that I thought looked familiar, and I needed your opinion on it. I could look it up, but I was like, I'm gonna just ask on the air.
Okay.
It said written by Alec Berg. Isn't he the Barry guy?
Yeah, him and Bill Hader did Barry.
Yeah, I was like, this feels very different than Barry.
I know. I'm glad he's got a different direction.
Yeah.
It is funny though, cause like there's a lot of writers on Borat for obvious reasons. One of them was Todd Phillips.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he wrote it. I think he wrote it. He may have just been a producer on it. Yeah. It's a weird kind of crew that has worked with like Baron Cohen.
Yeah, and then they go on to make like prestige stuff. Yeah. I also liked one last thing. I liked that a lot of the actually two last things, two little jokes I liked, running jokes. I liked that a lot of the music was in Wadian.
Oh yeah.
Or Arabic. I don't know what language it is. But I thought that was just a nice touch. It's like a lot of the music in Jojo Rabbit being in German.
Yeah.
And then another running joke I like that they don't ever address, I just think it's funny, is whenever Aladdin and Ben Kingsley enter a room together, they're holding hands. Like Ben Kingsley's like leading him like he's like a little boy.
I didn't notice that. That's so funny.
I think it's funny. It's like he's like a toddler. I think that's pretty much all I had to say about Sacha Baron Cohen's The Dictator.
Yeah. A weird movie.
Very strange.
Yeah, I'm having trouble like deciding like what exactly like what I would give it. Like I think between like a 5 and a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know, because there are funny moments in the movie, but there are parts that just kind of made me just uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But not even in like a like, oh, this is saying things I don't agree with. It's more just like the jokes not really landing. It felt like just trying. There were points where it's just trying to be edgy for edgy sake.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, because I think Borat I think Borat is a near perfect film, I'll say. Just because it encapsulates that time so much.
Yeah.
I think there's like, because a lot of the humor out of that of like he's doing all these things, and so you're getting the reactions of normal people.
Yeah.
So
I feel like, or go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, I think Borat makes it's easier to understand because you're like, oh, Borat is an insane cartoon character. Yeah. Like, this is.
You're not trying to like. I guess there's some parts in Borat where you're supposed to sympathize with him, like when his like partner leaves him.
Yeah.
But in this, it feels like it's like, oh, our hero, this horrible person.
It's more of like a movie where it's like. Yeah. You're supposed to be following his journey, and it's like
supposed to care about his
weird.
Love story.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like they did this better in Borat 2, where like his relationship with his daughter is legitimately sweet at the end, even though it's been like deranged the whole time.
Yeah. He's feeling like a cattle pen.
Yeah. Or the whole scene with the doctor, where they imply that he got his own daughter pregnant, and it's like some southern doctor is like, it's not my business. And it's like, what? Like, but that again goes back to like, it's so crazy and it's like real.
Yeah.
And then like they just do the little story stuff on top. I don't know. It's hard. Being Sacha Baron Cohen is hard.
Yeah, he's a hard guy to like to peg down because it's like I don't want to be the guy of like, oh, you did Borat. That's the only thing you're gonna do for the rest of your career. That's the only thing you can do. I feel like his comedy can work. He's great in like side parts. Like he's great in Talladega Nights. But this one feels like I should have committed either way.
Yeah. He also was in Sweeney Todd.
Was he in Sweeney Todd? No, he was in Les Mis.
Yeah, he's in Sweeney Todd. He's the touche for the face.
I did. You know what's a bad movie that I did like Sacha Baron Cohen in? I liked him in Alice Through the Looking Glass.
I've never seen it, but doesn't he have like a funny hat?
Yeah, he has a funny hat. He plays the manifestation of time.
Right. Yeah.
So he's just like one big clock.
But
he does good in that.
He's all right.
He is all right. I feel like what I would like to see Sacha Baron Cohen in. I like to see him in like a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, that'd be great. I actually was for some reason I was just thinking he was a voice in Fantastic Mr. Fox, but he's not.
I know Adrian. Well, I feel like he looks similar to Adrian Brody, or there's a similar like body type to him.
Yeah.
And I know Wes Anderson works with him a lot. So
yeah.
Tall, get them together. They can play brothers.
Tall, lanky guys with dark hair. For some reason I was thinking of the rat from Fantastic Mr. Fox, but that's Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
But yeah, this week I think both movies were like 2.5 stars for me out of 5.
Yeah, not a good weekend. Not a very good weekend.
Go see the Avengers again.
Yeah, go see Avengers for the 3rd time. Which is probably what I did during this.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Jacob. How did this? How is this aged? Honestly,
I don't think it's aged super gracefully. I feel like a lot of these jokes are probably things that like it feels like a perfect movie for when I was 12.
Yeah.
Not something I would watch, but like some of the kids in my class would definitely like sneak into this and be like, "Oh, the Dictator's so funny.
This is the funniest movie I've ever seen."
Yeah. And so it feels like that kind of movie, like middle school boy humor.
But it's rated R. So
yeah.
That weird.
But that's how it goes, Middle school boys are some of the most savage, They're like eat their live young kind of like creatures.
What school did you go?
They're like the troglodytes from Bone Tomahawk. But anyway, like, so I don't think it's aged super well. I think some of the more like ridiculous stuff is still funny, but I will say even from the first time I watched this, I feel like I like it less.
Yeah.
So I don't. It's like it's just a fine comedy. I would say it's there's a reason people don't really talk about it when they talk about great comedies.
But people do talk about Borat. Well, exactly. I guess it did have a sequel. But
even before that, I feel like it was much more of a thing. But that's not to say anything about Sacha Baron Cohen. I think he's a very funny guy. I think he's, like you said, great in side character roles. But I feel like he kind of did that in this, I guess. But he really could have like a Bernie, where he plays like a serious role,
like the movie Bernie.
Yeah, I feel like
that's still pretty comedic.
True, but I feel like there you could take someone who does really goofy shit,
really goofy stuff, put it in a movie where he can really do that more. Like the comedy is a little more refined.
Yeah,
it's more character.
A thinking man's comedy.
Yeah. Go watch Bernie. That's a great movie.
I haven't seen it in forever.
Oh, so good.
But yeah, that's what I think of this. What about you?
I'd say in terms of my expectations, it came in about where I expected. There were a lot more jokes I laughed at than I thought I would. But yeah, I think overall, like, the story is just kind of whatever. There are a lot of jokes that fall flat. There's a lot that feels like it's trying to be edgy, so it doesn't really come across well. And I think, some of the humor does just feel like that edgelord stuff. I feel like it was still like people felt the same like in 2012 of like it's not just like, oh, back then people just loved edgy stuff. This movie didn't do great. It did not get a very good critic reception. It felt very like, oh, he's just trying to be edgy. You know, he was trying to milk a soldier, milk a woman. So yeah, I think I'm fine. I'll be super fine if I never watch this movie again.
Same, yeah.
But overall, whatever. I got a good Jason Mantzoukas performance out of it.
Yeah, he's the best part. I mean, like there's other people who, like Ben Kingsley's like a good straight man. Mm-hmm. It's like no one is doing like a bad job. It's just not a super well written movie.
Yeah, it's not as funny as it should.
Yeah, it's not firing on all cylinders. My roommate might listen to this and have my guts for garters because he loved this movie. I think he gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but what does he know? He likes Simon Birch. That's a fun Google trip for y'all. A weird, disturbing movie.
Alright, so that's all we have for this week.
Yeah. What are we going to next week?
Next week. Got a movie.
Oh no.
Okay, next week is Men in Black 3.
Okay, I've never seen it.
You never seen it? Have you seen the first two?
I've seen the first. I know the first one pretty well, and then I've seen the second one like once.
Yeah, Men in Black 3. I own it on DVD.
Nice.
A great Pitbull song in it. And then we did talk about this. There is a movie in limited release we are gonna do. It is the debut weekend of Moonrise Kingdom.
Woo!
We were just talking about Wes Anderson.
Yay!
I am very excited to rewatch.
I love Moonrise Kingdom. I don't think I have my copy here, but we'll find it somewhere.
You can borrow mine.
Okay, good. I have a poster right here.
Oh yeah, I have that same one. It's so good.
Shout out, forget the artist's name.
I mean, yeah,
Ted Danson. That's what I always think it looks like.
Ted Danson.
I think it's like Tim something.
Yeah, something. But yeah, so tune in next episode for Men in Black 3 and Moonrise Kingdom. What a double feature.
Once again, we're saving the Earth from aliens.
Once again. And
also Men in Black. That's what I love doing that joke, right? All right,
Jacob, where can the good people find you?
If you want more of my hot takes, just steaming. Ooh, you know me. I'm a contrarian. I cause problems. I'm the Joe Rogan of film
podcast.
Yeah, film sphere. That was a joke. But you can find me at Jacob Sanger on Twitter, SAENGER, and at Commander in Beef on Instagram with underscores in between the words. And I am also at Jacob Sanger on Letterboxd. I'm up to 750 movies rated.
Oh, you don't want to make a game out of it?
I know, Collins. I want to break 1,000. I know I've watched 1,000 movies.
Yeah, you're a new person. You're new to Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Relatively. You got it like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I've been on that shit for like 5 years. But yeah, but you can find me on Letterboxd at CJS Films, and you can find me on Twitter at
Spalton.
Yeah, at C Spalton. Glad you know it. And then be sure to share, rate, review, subscribe, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Feature Flashback. And special thanks to Sheldon Scholl for our lovely theme music.
And we have a pretty consistent listener base, and I think it's gotten a little bit bigger. So if you guys want,
someone's out there.
If y'all are listening, we really appreciate it, and tell your friends it's cool that some people are actually listening to this.
I know. I keep looking at the numbers; they're going up.
Yeah. And we have our first international listener.
We do. According to us, 99% of our viewer base, according to our statistics, is from the U.S., but we have 1% from Australia.
Yeah.
So if that's you, if you're still listening, I don't know, give us a DM.
Yeah, I will say, hey, g'day. Let's you and me smash a tinny, mate. Have a little whirly in the dummy after.
Well, now they definitely aren't gonna listen.
Dingo ate my baby.
I will say, me and Jacob did meet in college in a class our first semester.
Oh, yeah.
That was Australian cinema.
Yeah,
specifically.
movies from down under.
That was the name there.
Yeah, that's why I have True History of the Kelly Gang on Blu-ray.
Yeah, you gotta know about Nick Gilly.
And Sweet Country, starring Sam Neill, who I believe is actually
yeah,
Kiwi.
so a little place in my heart for the land down under.
Yeah.
For this one person.
So go ahead and waltz Matilda for us, buddy.
All right. Thank you for listening, especially you out there. Any of you out there down under.
Yeah.
See you next time.
See ya.